So I really want to be in the playoffs. I want to go to Worlds. That's my biggest dream right now. So I'm just pretty hyped. Even though the Super Week didn't went too good for us, we are still pretty hyped, and we didn't think too much about the Super Week. We just will focus on the playoffs and go to Worlds.
Well, one thing's for sure, Kevin's got a hell of a hot, tough road ahead of him if he wants to make that dream come true. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to head into Game 3 between SK Gaming and Millennium, and right now, SK Gaming lead 2-0. It could well be a clean sweep. Millennium, they need to throw everything they can at this match. They've spent a little time off the stage. They clearly needed to discuss and find out what the hell they are going to adjust for this game.
If I were SK Gaming, I don't think they need to adjust anything. You know, you go back to the previous games. Jesiz has been allowed Jree. He's gone 11-1-14. And I just think for SK, they've got a very comfortable spot. I know it's Millennium that need to change stuff, but I just think it's at the moment a massive mountain to climb, because it's SK that have outclassed, they were out-mechanical, they were out-strategizing their opponents. Game 1 was slow, Game 2 was dominant. Yeah, 25 minutes they were in the base. I mean, they just outmaneuvered them so many times and just caught them out of position. And you got to wonder, I mean, we were talking about picks and bans. We thought Orianna probably should have been let through and gone with the Nidalee and Maokai ban. Instead, they choose to let Nidalee through, got picked. They choose to let Maokai through in Game 1, got picked. Both times been against Kevin's Aatrox, so we just heard his dream is to get to that World Championships. And I personally would question whether Aatrox is the right pick for that. It's not working. He's lost his lane twice. Lost to Maokai, lost to Nidalee. As you pointed out, Kerp, Ziggs didn't work so well. His Fizz was better, but not by a big margin. And it just feels like Millennium are not really firing on all cylinders, I think is the best way to describe it.
Any cylinders, honestly, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you know, the Alistair as well for Jree. It's just not having an impact. This is also one of the scenarios, Deficio said it quite rightly. In the meta at the moment, it's about those late game hyper carries. It really is Tristana Kog'Maw who's really at the top of the pile. And Creaton's pulled out Lucian and Corki. Now, I don't mind Corki. I think if you punish a mid-game power spike, you can do well with the Corki. His range, his poke, his mixed damage, it's very difficult to deal with. When you get ahead, you can win early. But you need to do all those things. And it kind of feels like sometimes you look at a patch and you sometimes misinterpret what is powerful and what can work. Maybe Millennium have done that. Maybe Millennium have come into this game with some assumptions, because again, they're playing 4.13 for the first time, really. Maybe they've just done the wrong homework for the series.
What I've noticed, certainly in the last game, was obviously Millennium were the ones that were going to try and be aggressive. They were trying to make the kills. We saw, of course, the Evelynn come around, Blue Pot trying to get in there, Jree getting in, Flash, Pulverize. But nRated was there every time. Dark Binding after Dark Binding has worked so well for him. Maybe that's even something they need to look towards. Jree on Alistair. It is not working.
No, it really isn't. And we are seeing the same bans thus far. SK have banned all 3 of the same champions they have in the 2 previous games. Irelia, TF, and Zillion, and this is now a change for Millennium.
Yeah, they've let Maokai through and Nidalee through. So they've given Kevin the choice, and they're going to attempt to take the other one. I think he's actually going to go Maokai.
I wonder if this... Yeah, I think Maokai would be the preference. And I wonder if Millennium were hoping that's going to be Nidalee and they could pick Maokai.
I think they're going to first pick Morgana again. I think they're just going to say, fine, we're going to see what you go with. And well, no, they're not. They don't want to risk Maokai going.
I actually like your idea, because the chances of locking in both Nidalee and Maokai are slim to none. But in the same token, if SK are adamant that in terms of the priority picks, this is the way to go, I would love to see this. It worked well in Challenger. Chachi did a great job with Swain. How practiced is Kevin with Swain, if he's going to lock it in?
No, changed it. Goes to the Kog'Maw Morgana, but it's a big change. It's the support change, and they've also stolen away SK's
duo lane
completely.
Yes, Morgana Kog'Maw has been right in both of the previous games for SK, so Millennium have already leveled up their pick and ban phase. They've got a relevant AD carry. They've stolen away nRated's Morgana, who was landing so many Dark Bindings, but like we said, it is late game ADCs. Tristana is the theoretical opposite number to Kog'Maw. Yeah,
and there's so many options available to it. Nami alongside Tristana. It is a strong, potent lane. if you get caught out, you could well be in trouble. So immediately, SK, they're like, fine, you're going to take away our first choice. We can switch straight to this, and it is a strong second choice.
Do you see how decisive SK are in the picks and bans? They took a little while for their Maokai, but in the previous games as well, SK have been very, very on point, and they've been very quick to react in what they wanted to lock in. And I think we're going to look at Emperor Palpatine once again.
This is top lane Cow this time around. Lee Sin also picked up by KottenX, despite the changes. Of course, he will fall away on the late game. Doesn't have that attack speed nerf as heavy as he would do when he used to get on towards that AD carry instead. We'll see if it works out. We'll see whether they're going to get to that late game stage and whether KottenX can really put pressure on it, because as so far hasn't had a great impact.
Agreed. His Jarvan was non-existent, really. His Evelynn just got shut down by nRated's Morgana and Dark Bindings on so many occasions. So back to a comfort pick, back to something that he's played a boatload. This will be his 14th game in summer. He played 13 in the summer split. He's got 8 wins with that champion, so that's a pretty good win-loss ratio. But it's the top Cow that's going to be interesting to me. Where and how is Kevin going to play this? Because we've seen Trinity force into Static Shiv yesterday, and then we've seen a tank build later in the matchup. So what itemization route is Kevin going to take against this Maokai?
Well, of course, the Ziggs was picked in there. We saw Svenskeren on. Kha'Zix already. Lux is locked in for the mid lane from Kerp. Is this what they needed? It's a shake-up for sure from Millennium, but is it something untested?
I like Lux in this matchup. I think the range advantage that you're going to have, the wave clear you're going to have against Ziggs, and also the ability to lock down both a Kha'Zix or a Maokai that dash into you with that light binding. I mean, it's going to root 2 people in place. It is very, very powerful. When you combine that with a Dark Binding, when you combine that with a Pulverize, there is a lot of hard CC that can come into play. But I do think it is very relevant for Kerp and Kevin to have a strong start to the game, because if they aren't able to get those bindings, get that CC, and keep Creaton alive with that Cogmore to kite and, you know, lay down the smackdown, I just think they're going to get trampled over. Lux, of course, her passive does more damage in 4.13. So small changes, small tweaks. She's more relevant in the late game because it now has an ability power ratio.
If she wants to risk walking up and landing that proc, that's for sure. It's a risky
Or if someone jumps on you, you can get the damage
But
down.
honestly, for Millennium, this is the time to take risks. Yep. This is where they have to try something. Who do you guys at home think has the edge heading into this game? Is it the final game? That's the question. Tweet out #SKWin or #MILWin to @LOLesports, and we'll check out your votes. Also, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, to use the LCS at big plays if you see something you think is outstanding. There's been a few so far.
Yep.
Great plays, especially from SK's side.
Mine's a slightly non-standard one. I really like the way SK peeled away from a bottom lane fight, dodging all the spells and ended up getting kills. I mean, it's just such great understanding of the situation.
So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game 3. Will it be the final one? Will it be a clean sweep for SK Gaming? Or will Millennium manage to strike back? They are 2-0 down. Rockan, of course, managed to put Super Hot Crew in a similar situation yesterday. Super Hot Crew did manage to drag that game back, but it was a long, hard-fought battle, which they ended up losing 3-1. Of course, they will be facing Fnatic. The winner of this will face Alliance, and it seems Millennium are on one of their famed invades.
They've got such a strong level 1. I mean, flash for flash on supports. That's an okay trade, and we'll see if any jungler can punish it. But with Dark Binding, with Light Binding, with Pulverize, the level 1 is definitely sitting in favor of Millennium. I want to go back to something that you said just at the end of Picks and Bans, was you're 2-0 down on a best of 5, and you know, why not pull out all the stops or you know, take a risk? I actually think Millennium took risks in game 1 and 2. Lucian was a risk, Corki was a risk, Alistair support was a risk both times. And it didn't work out for Millennium. So this time around, it's their third trick, third gambit, as it were. And we'll see if this one can actually work out in their favor.
Well, if you've not seen top lane Cow at all yesterday, if you weren't a keen-eyed viewer, we'll see if he goes the same route that we've seen so far, which is the Trinity Force into Static Shiv into possibly a Frozen Heart. Of course, that will be changing because he's up against a double AP comp in Freddy and Jesiz on Maokai and Ziggs.
It's actually quite difficult to itemize because there is a fair amount of damage from obviously Ziggs and Maokai. Then you've got a lot of physical damage from both Kha'Zix and CandyPanda, especially if Svenskeren goes for that sort of early armor penetration build. But luckily, Kevin's got a press R to survive most things button, and we'll see how effectively he uses it. I actually likened the Trinity Force static Shiv build and playstyle to a split push Shyvana playstyle because you've got that trample passive on Alistar, which does give you a slightly more effective wave clear. It's not a massive amount of damage, but it will allow you to push a wave fairly quickly. And when you get those static Shiv procs and the attack speed, etc., in conjunction with your Pulverize, you can actually clear waves very, very quickly. So we'll see if Kevin does play that split push role and does play that route, because top lane Cow is very exciting.
Interesting start between these two mid lanes. Jess has thrown out those bouncing bombs, and not a lot of them are connecting with Kerp so far, who's happily just to focus on the farm, sidestep those bombs. But again, as a Ziggs, very easy to farm out. Will just keep his CS very tight between them. We'll see how that one progresses. Quick, CandyPanda putting the explosive shot onto Creaton. Get that little burn and dot ticking away on him. Creaton, of course, led in the last match in CS. Finally managed to get himself a little bit of an edge on it, but CandyPanda has been fantastic throughout. Incredible stats across these games. 10-1-7 in game 1, 7-2-9, I believe, in the last matchup as well. Explosive shot working well, wiping out the wave, keeping the pressure.
Oh, Bubble's not going to connect in rates. Might be in a little bit of trouble.
They're going to go for it. KottenX comes around the side, lands the Sonic Wave, but nRated, the heal comes down, jumps on him from CandyPanda, gets the slow on KottenX. Nicely done. And SK are free.
So good attempt by Millennium. They get the flash, not the flash, rather the heal from CandyPanda. But a very, very smart rocket jump from CandyPanda, actually slowing KottenX down, preventing him going further. I was going to say before the gank came in, if you actually looked at CandyPanda and nRated, they were poking Creaton and Jree very effectively. In between Candy's CSing and nRated's positioning, they were putting a lot of auto attacks and spell casts onto their opponents, which Creaton and Jree had no response for. But the moment I wanted to say those words, you know, Dark Binding did connect, and obviously KottenX came in for that gank. It's going to be a repeat gank.
Yeah, but no flash available this time. He managed to land the flash Sonic Wave. It's going to be a lot harder to land. He's backed off. He's going to go straight towards the white off the side there. Jree, meanwhile, he is going to back off, and farm-wise still pretty even between the two. Look at that. CandyPanda just walks up, explosive shot straight to Jree.
Yeah, but while farming, and Creaton, I just don't really think he's focusing on it. I don't really think he's putting a lot of attention into that. And you know, when you've struggled two games in a row, it does affect your psychological play. And we just need to see, every time we look there, see how effectively Creaton is trading with his opposite number. Anyways, KottenX is holding Creaton's hand. Dark Binding, can it connect? They're going in.
No flash, remember, for them this time around. He will try and get on towards nRated. Have they got enough? They have! KottenX finally gets himself first blood.
Punishing nRated for that flash earlier on, where Jree was able to throw the Dark Binding out. Kill secured there for KottenX. The repeated ganks working in his favor, but it has cost Creaton some CS. He should make that up shortly, though, since CandyPanda is going to get away. Can Svenskeren steal a blue buff? This is the question. He's going in.
Hello, flash on towards him, pounce! And the unseen threat of a Kha'Zix catches on towards him. CandyPanda, oh, Dark Binding catches. Rocket jumps just at the right moment, though. Gets himself to safety.
Yeah, managed to queue up that rocket jump before the Dark Binding connected. So anyways, top lane's a lane we haven't looked at extensively. Kevin, with his sustain and his harassment, got a small CS lead, but it won't be much.
No, it's going to be a sustain versus a sustain, as Freddy will just clear out a bit of this wave. Well, it's a fairly passive lane, let's put it this way. I don't
It's going to be exhilarating.
Too much.
It's going to be both ultimates damage reduction, both knockbacks, and, you know, CC. I'm sure it'll be exhilarating. But Kevin, with a Sheen first item, does signal it's going to be that Trinity Force. So
yep.
Very, very hoping to see this Emperor Palpatine. And, you know, Kevin's got such a beef with Freddy because of how badly he's been beaten in those last two matches. You know, he really needs to get his horn stuck in and try to punish Freddy.
Any more?
I can, but I'm gonna save them a little bit. I'm gonna save them a little bit.
You've been working on these overnight, or what?
No. Just inspired by Joe casting the games yesterday. You know?
Yeah,
really got me excited.
Not at the moment. Freddy, ooh, look at that. Popped his ultimate. Was a little worried that Kevin was ready to go for it. Of course, KottenX was waiting just off the side there. Jesiz warding out. Getting some coverage in his mid lane. Continue to farm. All this while it's a good dark binding landing, but look at Creaton. You can see his health. He cannot get involved in that one. Has to back off. And this bottom lane pairing of Jree and Creaton has been under pressure throughout this series.
Yeah, they've really been struggling. And of course, you know, they are against a very frustrating lane to deal with because there is sustain there on Nami. So, support versus support, but nRated's got way more hit points, and Jree's out of mana, actually. Ignite is available for nRated. We'll see if he gets caught.
Oh, thought about going for it there. Managed to sidestep both the dark binding flash out of the light bind, and he will get away. It is a good point to mention, of course, for Millennium. They have incredible crowd control. So, evolution of the Void Spikes once again for Svenskeren, as we saw in the previous matchup when he played them. This is a deep, deep move, though, for Svenskeren. Caught out. Head before rise. Laser comes through! Is it going to be enough? Tries to tank it through. Unbelievable! And KottenX, he's taken down at the side there with Jesiz.
Yeah, managing to survive. The summoner heal from Jesiz actually kept Svenskeren alive in that situation. And just turning it around. Millennium thought they'd caught them out. And even though that final spark did connect, it just wasn't enough damage. If that isn't an LCS big play, I don't know what is.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. The combo almost worked out. Jez is going to get himself the blue buff, though. Got himself his first kill of the game as he moves towards the Athenes. Kerp doing exactly the same. So KottenX has already tried to create pressure. It worked for him in the bottom lane, but he's now 2 deaths down. And again, it is starting. The trickle has begun for SK.
We'll see how quickly they can turn the trickle into a pull. Good. Light binding,
followed by
that is so frustrating to deal with. Now this is one of the powers of Millennium Squad. You are going to have like multiple CCs that can all work very well together. Put Void Ooze and that Loosen Singularity down from Lux on the ground, slow people down and line them up for that massive chain of root. But what needs to follow up after is you need to get Creaton hammering away on that target, or Kerp has to have enough ability power to blow them up. And if that doesn't happen, if they can't kill someone by the time that root runs out, that's all they really have. Then they're going to be reliant on KottenX getting rid of the threats with his Dragon Rage, or obviously alternatively Kevin keeping them in place with that knockup. So we'll see if their primary initiation works out.
Shouldn't discount the damage that Kevin will have as that AD carry cow, effectively, you know, melee champion that can get involved. They do put out a lot of damages. AD ratios can get incredible. If he gets a 24% static shiv in there, I think something like 300 plus AD, which is pretty high.
It is very scary, but he needs to get there first.
Yes.
Farming, still behind Freddy, despite having a slightly strong start. It was initially Kevin that was bullying around Freddy, but this time around not working out, and KottenX playing with his life a little bit. Svenskeren, if he jumped on it, maybe would have had a lot of damage.
Rubber Ducky bouncing Kerp towards him, but instead he just turns it around, puts the light binding down, sidesteps, gets another basic attack with that passive down. Does not land the second skill shot. Svenskeren is waiting off at the side. Hasn't evolved his wings yet, so he can't pounce in quite as high as he'd like. Can't jump across that forested area just yet. Instead, he has to come around a traditional route, which doesn't look like it's going to work. But look at Jesiz, look how much he's pressuring. Really trying to force this one. He wants to go back. Gonna buy up a second item. Probably going to be some boots, maybe. He's got the things already completed. And it will be the boots.
Yeah, the wave clear versus wave clear in that mid lane, and just the ridiculous range, is going to be very important when it comes to the siege and the counter siege. Now, SK, when they were dealing with the Ziggs in game 1, played very passive and very slow. And I think Lux will have similar levels of wave clear. But Creaton has slowly got some control back in this lane. He was being bullied very early on, but since having access to living artillery and having that phage in his inventory, it does look like Creaton and Jree are playing more aggressively. The last 2 or 3 times we've poked our eyes down at this lane, we've seen CandyPanda and nRated on the retreat out of risk of getting caught out. Tower dive top, they're going on the cow.
It's a tricky tower dive, that's for sure. He's got a lot of reduction here. He's trying to do what he can to try and kite it round. Freddy switches the aggro to Svenskeren, and Kevin lives for now. They trade back in, jump back in towards it. Svenskeren gets it.
Very well played. Second time he goes for the flash execute on Kha'Zix. We'll talk about that lane in just a minute. Millennium, they're looking for CandyPanda.
Mega Inferno bomb does not land on anyone. Jree manages to land the proc on towards nRated. Live binding lands from long range there, and they do get the kill on the support. 1-for-1 trade. Top tower goes down. Still yet to get that dragon. Millennium, they have to win this trade and they have to get the dragon down.
They've got to be so careful of the bouncing bombs from Jesiz. He's running out of mana though, so time will be out. Fred is going to be teleporting, so this is going to turn into an engage. CandyPanda is still untouched as well. This is going to be a big one, D-Man.
It's a 5-on-3 though, that's for sure, so it's a big advantage, but it's SK that are forcing him away. Kevin goes in once again, pulverized on towards Freddy, passes him in there. KottenX strikes, but he gets caught out. Kevin now in trouble. Jesiz trying to land the shots on towards him. CandyPanda has to back off there as Millennium engage, but they do not get the dragon, so job done by SK.
End up trading kills in that scenario, but yes, as you rightly pointed out, SK were the ones that got the objective in the tower in the top lane after diving Kevin. They managed to force him away and they got themselves the kill. But because Jesiz was so low on mana and he'd used his Mega Inferno Bomb on the initial Dragon engage, SK weren't able to do more. So Freddy teleports in just to give up his life while securing one kill in the process. Jesiz, no more mana though. He's burned through his entire mana pool. It's going to be relatively useless for the next couple of moments, but it's not over. Dragon is still available. KottenX is coming in at full life, and I think this is the smart call from SK to back away.
Yeah, they need to back off from that one. Kerp was low, but still had the laser, so he could have fired from range. Also, we saw the entire Millennium team moving back in towards that one. Kevin's gone back to the top. They're not done yet, SK. They still want to make sure this is secured. It's the bottom lane that they should be looking at. Creaton is going to back off, go towards that Trinity Force. Infinity Edge slowly being built out by CandyPanda. Meanwhile, Svenskeren, a bit of a regressive build this time around.
Yeah, he's got himself that Brutalizer once more. It is the armor pen Kha'Zix, which Diamond did in Super Week again. Yep. Svenskeren slightly deviated from the full damage route in game 1, but we'll see what he decides this time. And KottenX, obviously, Sidestone and Eastern, going to be getting some wards down. He's been in the right place most of the time, and despite giving up a couple of kills, has felt more impactful, has felt like he's contributing to the team play. Millennium are only 1,500 gold down at about the 15-minute mark, which is one of the smallest disadvantages they've been in. And we'll see if they can even up that global gold. It is one tower, one dragon that can make it closer.
Well, they saw, of course, that Millennium had a number of people up towards the top there. SK quickly tried to move for this one. Jree, quick black shield stops that Aqua Prison landing. Dragon down to half hit points. They're going to have to back away from this one. Svenskeren has taken way too much damage to get involved.
For a laser,
could easily get picked off if one of the dark or light bindings were to land. Instead, they both get sidestepped. But Millennium, they are doing a good job at staying at range and making maximum usage of their abilities to pipe them out. Svenskeren caught out. Is the laser not going to come through? Doesn't go for it. Doesn't pull the trigger.
No, he doesn't. Really want to focus on getting that blue buff. And if SK continue to extend this engage with no blue buff on Jesiz and obviously blue on Lux, it's going to be a very big advantage to Millennium. This is turned into a 15-minute dragon dance. We usually see this around Baron, and neither team's willing to give up that objective, but neither team really has the tools to instantly win. You know, the moment Kevin wants to jump into a team fight, he's going to get rooted by Freddy or knocked away by Tristana. The moment Freddy wants to jump into a team fight, he's going to get kicked away by KottenX or rooted by Kerp and Jree. So there's so many tools to deal with the limited initiation from either of these teams. That's why we're having these awkward extended standoffs.
Jree took a lot of damage there, some good poke from SK, and they feel that may well be enough to go back in. They start the dragon off again. Millennium claps in. There's no movement from the bottom lane at the moment. Creaton's continue to farm, and this dragon, I think he's going to be secured this time around. SK will take it.
Yeah, very easy. Millennium too slow to react. That's not the fight though.
Creaton there. Now is he going to get focused on? Can they try and get away from this one? CandyPanda moves in. Mega Inferno Bomb catches on towards KottenX. He's taken very low, but will survive. Meanwhile, back above, you can see Kevin and Kerp moving in. They cannot land any of that crowd control though, and SK safely disengage.
Smarter positioning from SK and punishing Millennium for splitting up. Now Millennium, they can make a small turnaround. They've got minions moving up behind them, but Jesiz should be in range to get some bouncing bombs down. We'll see how quickly or how long they commit to this tower push. But Millennium, they split up. They were in the middle lane, they were bottom lane, they wanted to farm, and SK rushed Dragon. I mean, it was a timing thing, and SK punished Millennium for being too far away and being too spread out.
Svenskeren comes around, he will see Kevin there. No, Trinity Force still completed. He fancies it, goes in for it. Can he try and draw something from this one? Kerp instead throws out the light binding and the Lucent Singularity and will have to back away. Svenskeren got the ward.
Worth it, I think.
Absolutely.
But the main thing to notice is just how much damage Svenskeren's putting down. Whenever you see Alistair, your brain tells you tanky, but he's only got a Phage and a Sheen, so he's nowhere near tanky yet. And I made that mistake as a spectator yesterday going, oh, Alistair's coming in, this is going to change. Why is he almost dead? Oh, there's no resistances or HP. So you have to remember that Kevin, while he doesn't have his ultimate up and running, he's not going to actually be a very, very big threat. He's got those boots of mobility, and we'll see if he can impact any of those side lanes.
So something
make things happen.
I want to point out here, actually, for Kerp, especially, because obviously Lux was a champion. We saw a lot of people running back in Season 3, and I distinctly remember Froggen talking about it. You know, the usage of the ultimate. His words were exactly, you need to use that ultimate the moment it's off cooldown every single time, non-stop. Continue using it. Don't save it, which is what Kerp seemingly has been doing. Obviously, we just saw him to use it to wipe that wave out, but you can see, he used it, went back to base, comes back, it's back up. It's such a short cooldown. You have to keep firing it, keep just trying to land those shots.
I agree with you, and to expand on the point, if he had maybe called to go for the laser for the Dragon Steel, you know, it was pretty clear Millennium didn't want to go for the engage. Go for the blind steal. I mean, these guys have all got that sixth sense and game sense, and they knew Dragon was going on. They were making moves towards the pit, but it didn't happen. So we'll see how Kerp continues to use it. He's got that second level now of that final spark, so even lower cooldown, higher damage. But Millennium, they've just slowly been ground out of the game once more. Lost a Dragon, lost a tower, being out-farmed in top, in jungle, in AD carry by a small margin. And it's just these small wins that is going in SK's favor.
One thing I always note with CandyPanda, and I love him for it because he's awesome, he hits the damn tower every time. He will walk up, get a couple of shots, and then back off. He is not afraid to put himself out there. Sometimes,
I'm so glad you say this.
Sometimes it puts him in a sticky situation, but he will always walk up, get a couple of auto attacks, and then back away. It's exactly what he needs to do.
Look at the damage.
Yeah, Svenskeren got a lot of punishing damage. The Hex Trinket is now completed alongside that Brutalizer and the Elder Spirit. While this is all happening, of course, the top lane has been a bit of a problem. Kevin up against Freddy again is being forced back, out-farmed, and maybe outplayed.
And I want to reiterate, we talked about Kevin in the pregame. If Kevin is doing well and you know, is able to perform in his lane, he's the front line that Millennium needs when they go for all of these engages. A lot of it rests off Kevin having strong and steady and stable performances. He's lost both of his games on Aatrox. He's behind in his game on Alistair. And I think Millennium have either misread Maokai or just underestimated him.
Wolf flash used there. Freddy dodging out. Was caught by the light binding. Remember, laser still being held. CandyPanda going aggressive on Creaton. The wave comes out from nRated. CandyPanda in trouble, locked down. Soul Shackles goes off, forces the flash from nRated. Finally, Millennium get themselves a kill in the bottom lane.
Yeah, well played by Creaton and Jree. Took a long time for them to really go nice and aggressive. Trinity Force Cogmore is going to do more damage than an Infinity Edge Tristana. Just the whole kit of Coggins, especially if you just park yourself down and load with living artillery. So grabs himself a kill, grabs a tower as well, and that's going to close that gold lead. You can't bark up that tree. Freddy grabs the golem. It's just, gotta have some fun with it.
So, top lane, Freddy is dominating still. Absolutely dominating Kevin. Yeah, I mean, he's, again, fallen behind in CS. Just unable to deal with the Maokai.
This game is going to be slightly drawn out if SK are to win it. And the reasoning, they want Freddy to become the unkillable, unchoppable tree. And they want CandyPanda to be relevant and have a power spike. I think the way SK played in game 1 was very telling. They wanted to hit their power spikes, they wanted to hit their itemization levels before they challenged. And then even when they were challenging, it was super risk averse, and it was very much about the safe plays. And it feels like that's what SK are doing again. You go back to all of those Dragon engages. SK danced around Dragon instead of committing. SK danced in and out before stealing it away by having better positioning.
Well, Trinity Force is finally being picked up by Kevin, but SK, they are moving into the jungle. Blue buff is a possibility. Of course, Dragon is alive. Oh, Jree. He's going to walk straight in. He's not going to be able to survive the burst power of Svenskeren and CandyPanda combined. That could well be the Dragon for SK.
Yep. Going to at least be one of those very powerful CCs that's not available. Teleports both up for the top laners, but no movement from Millennium. They're going to be giving that one up. There's no vision in the pit for Millennium either. SK have got decent wards in the blue buff area. Actually, very good wards in Millennium's blue buff area. We'll see if they can find Kerp. The satchel charge will slow him down.
Double.
Yeah, Bug's looking for him. We'll see if the Bug can splat Kerp.
Mines are not going to land, but the bouncing bomb will. The wave comes through. It's Mega Inferno bomb lands. The wave lands. In goes Kerp in trouble. And he will go down. Svenskeren gets on towards him. Leaps on towards KottenX. Gets the reset kick used by KottenX to force him away. We finally saw that laser coming out. That's the first time in around about 5 or 6 minutes since he last went back. He just keeps holding the trigger. Yeah,
I think Kerp was actually turning the light on to go to in his death. Simply didn't matter. He got rammed down.
Dead, yeah.
Every single member of SK just chased him down. After punishing Millennium for being out of position, they grab a Dragon.
Oh, Creaton
jumped on.
He's caught out. Freddy's going to catch on. Twisted advance. He will go deep, but he can tank out all that damage. Look at that. CandyPanda explosive shot just blows him away. Gets on towards it. Gets the double. Onto Jree. Can he get the triple? May well fancy it. Flashes for it. Oh, Dark Binding caught out. CandyPanda run away, man. He will go down. Outplayed by Jree.
Yeah, you can't blame him for trying Dark Binding as he lands. Now they're going to go for the cow.
Kevin. He's caught out Light Binding. Laser Svenskeren. Just not enough damage coming out of Kerp right now. And Svenskeren with the Hexdrinker just shields it off.
Manages to walk away from that one. SK Gaming punishing Millennium over and over for being out of position and just really poor pathing. That's very brave from Svenskeren. Still yet to back away. I guess he's far enough ahead. 115 CS to 61 on KottenX. And just really great combination here from Millennium. Despite the fact that Creaton pulled Freddy under a tower, Freddy took next to no damage. And let's just see, how close is that? One more hit. Yeah, one more hit probably would have done it. We've seen the heal from Alistar. But knock up and Dark Binding, that's going to cost him his life. And you can't blame him for trying. Why not? It would have got another tower if that kill had secured.
I think dreams of triple kill, quadra kill, and potential pentakill in the quarterfinals for flashing through CandyPanda's mind. Why not, like you mentioned, go for it there? It seems to be working out well for him now. Static Shift is completed. You guys at home, well, that vote is swinging in SK's favor. 57% of you now getting behind them. And we've seen some big plays throughout this series as well. Millennium, are they going down to a clean sweep, a 3-0? Will they be facing Super Hot Crew in that 5th place playoff? Kevin, meanwhile, that ultimate is not being used. He's holding on to it, doesn't have it available yet. Can he get it live? No! nRated caught out. Laser comes through, but he lives, and still, the power is not there for Millennium as they slowly get beaten out of their own jungle.
Somebody on Reddit needs to make a punchline to the following opening line. A insect, a tree walk into the top lane, and they order filet mignon Kevin. What's the punchline? Don't know.
I don't know.
But that was just an easy kill on Kevin. SK are romping across the map. There's nothing Millennium can do. And the moment somebody's alone, SK jump on them and kill them. Every single member of Millennium that's been alone for the last 5 minutes has died.
Yeah, SK get themselves a blue buff for Jesiz. Oh, wait. No.
Oh, scumbag Sven.
Svenskeren managed to get, I don't think he planned it. He just kind of hit him. The red buff, I think, finished it off.
Big smiles on Jez's face, at least.
Yeah, it's like,
he's not too frustrated. I'm sure he'll get his own one soon enough.
It's a 6,000, he's already got his own one. It's a 6,000 gold differential. Nevertheless, Svenskeren catches just about everything thrown his way. Bottom turret now going down. CandyPanda continues to move in with the wave, and they're pinging it. SK are going to rotate around it. Jree low on health. The siege continuing, and everything for SK is going their way. Look at Freddy waiting off the side. Creaton throwing out those saplings, getting the slows down on Millennium. They could push both towers at once.
I think they can. CandyPanda has been left unattested or uncontested for a while. And despite the long-range engages, oh, the satchel! I think that made the laser miss.
Yeah.
Anyways, Kerp's been caught.
It caught out, interrupt. wanted it. Laser, while it looked like it went off, didn't quite. Kevin now caught out, leaps in there. Svenskeren catches on towards in the Aqua Prison enough, and he will get a kill and just leaps on out. There is the inner turret going down. They can keep pushing this one, ladies and gentlemen. There's only 3-man defense, and Jree's got no health. The bouncy bomb's coming through. Inhibitor turret going down. It's another short game, surely, for SK Gaming as they continue to just charge through Millennium's base.
There is nothing Millennium can do. They were relying on their range. They were hoping that the Lux and the Morgana was going to be able to keep SK at arm's length and prevent them getting caught out. And it simply isn't the case. That satchel went off just before that channel, that spell animation went down, and I think they cancelled it or made it miss, but regardless, it doesn't change a thing. Even if the damage had applied, Jesiz was still next to full health, and SK just continued running across them.
Fantastic stuff from SK Gaming. Millennium started so close, started so well. It was a tight dragon fight for a good 15 minutes, but SK Gaming just, once they sniff the lead, they just absolutely make it count, and they are doing wonderful things right now. Millennium, they're going to have to hope for some form of miracle. They're trying to find it in catching out CandyPanda in the jungle. He's off the side there as 4 members of Millennium push through down the bottom lane. Kevin singled out on his own. He's in trouble. He's going to go down. No doubt about that one. Svenskeren gets the kill on this one. While Millennium, what are they doing? They're waiting. They're trying to catch out. It's nRated simply catching on support. You still don't even have the damage to finish him off. KottenX comes around. They threw everything at just simply getting a kill on nRated. Now SK close the net on towards them. Creaton brought out. He's going to go down. Jree, the next focus, he will go down. It's a simple kill. Just a kill lane. I don't know what to call it. Simply SK just dominating Millennium. I don't even know what they were planning down the bottom there.
I agree, and I'm super happy that SK have proven me wrong. I was anticipating them to play safely and, you know, avoid those long-range skill shots, but because SK have been presented these opportunities of Millennium being out of position, they've not hesitated. SK have played aggressively, they've punished Millennium for being out of position, and they've continually just taken objective after objective. They've given up 1 tower this game, and the wave that Candy pushed a few minutes ago into this bottom inner turret will now be finished off, and it's just all about SK.
And you know, I recall the conversation I had, I think it was nRated or CandyPanda, I'm not sure which one it was, just a couple of weeks back, and I said, well, I was saying, who do you want? Who do you want to face in the quarterfinals? And it's like, Millennium, we know exactly what we're up against. We know what they're going to try and do, and we know how to play against it. And honestly, they've come into this quarterfinals with an absolute perfect strategy and just dominated Millennium, who just have not turned up.
Yeah, I completely agree. SK have responded to Millennium's picks and bans, and it is a combination, right? Because I think Millennium may have had their theories, may have had their strategies and their plans coming into this. Red side in games 3, counter pick mid lane, but I don't think they've done it. You know, I don't think they actually executed the theory well at all. And in all 3 of the picks and ban phases, you can look at specific champions and go, why did you do that? What was the point of this? What were you hoping would happen? And then when you get in-game, they are also just mechanically not delivering to the standard we've come to expect. This is super weak Millennium, not the 10 weeks prior.
And this is super weak SK.
Yep.
Honestly, for me, you can look at every single lane. It's not just any particular lane. Freddy outplayed Kevin every single game. Svenskeren in the jungle has been brilliant. Caught out once, but he made it count, quickly got straight back and got some kills. Jesiz, honestly, has done a lot better than Kerp in the mid lane. Kerp has been a fairly non-factor in all 3 of these games. The fact that he's got a Mechie Soul Stealer on looks right now screams desperation. CandyPanda has been magnificent. Simply, he's got, what, 20 plus kills already in just these 3 games. He's absolutely been dominant, and alongside him, nRated has been brilliant, landing waves, landing dark bindings, landing everything that he needs to.
Yeah, SK have just completely stepped up their game, and with SK looking like they're going to close this one out 3-0, we very realistically could have a playoff bracket that looks like the spring split. I'll get to that thought in a second as Millennium, they're getting split off, but there's no Svenskeren.
CandyPanda's the focus target, but can they get him down? Everything thrown at him, the laser will finish the job. Now, can they make this something? Freddy's going to get tanked down, he will drop. Mega Inferno Bomb does a lot of damage coming out from Jesiz. They may well turn this one around, everybody is still low. In comes Svenskeren, finally he joins the party a little bit late to this one, but was not invited. KottenX instead comes in. It's a 3 3 for 0 so far for Millennium. Can they make it count? They're going to have to push hard down the mid lane.
They need to make something special.
Oh! Svenskeren leaps in, gets himself one, gets the reset, jumps out, flashes. He can still keep picking him off. He's going to kite them around here. Creaton knows, focused on nRated. He gets caught out. It was a 4 for 1, but if they're going to go Baron, that is a big, big risk with Svenskeren still alive.
I feel like even with a massive team fight like that, Millennium were able to punish Sven for being on the top lane of the map. It was a positional error. Kevin is teleported back in. Sven now 1v4. And I don't know if he can steal this. Regardless, this is a tad risky. If KottenX or Kerp go low, there is reset potential here.
Not going to risk it.
Nobody from SK is close enough. And okay, so Baron is big. The team fight itself was not necessarily the greatest of losses because SK still had a 10,000 gold lead. But getting Baron, having your teammates respawn, and having the buff available for the next fights, that's very important. All credit to KottenX and Jree for catching CandyPanda and killing him. Because the moment he was removed from the fight, it became infinitely easier. Sven and Candy are your consistent damage over time, auto-attack spells, and then Jesiz hopefully spamming from long range. But obviously there was no Sven that fight, so Millennium punish, and they win 5v4 convincingly, as well as getting Baron. Now they're back in it, but it is still a very, very, very big hill to climb.
We just saw Kevin and Creaton also taking the top turret down as well. So they've got themselves 2 turrets. And the Baron, can they do anything else with it? Or was it simply a fight of opportunity with everything working out? CandyPanda was singled out. And once those 2 carries kind of went down, it was Millennium that does prove they have a lot of power. Keep your eye on that Soul Stealer, by the way. I want to see how that one stacks out.
How many stacks did he end up?
5 on it currently, so it's almost making it pay. I think 6 is the margin when it starts to actually work in your favor. So, it's a big risk, and it may well work out for him. But at the moment, SK, they're just going to take the time, sit back. They're against the Baron up team right now, so it's not on them to do anything. It's down to Millennium to try and make use of this.
Yes, I agree. And for SK, now they might actually play more passively unless Millennium present solo targets. But for Millennium, with the Baron buff, they've bought themselves time. So the gold lead that SK had accrued will become less significant as the game extends for very obvious reasons. And in order for Millennium to claw this lead back, they want to make use of Baron to either scare SK away and get towers or dragons. Dragon's going to be up in 30 seconds. Millennium appear to be grouping for probably that very objective, but we'll see if they can make a play on the middle turret first. And the moment Millennium start clawing back that objective gold, now the burst damage from Kerp becomes scary. Now the Dark Binding from Jree is more threatening as well. But they've got no minions to work with, so can't go for the tower.
Well, that's the problem. They're pushing up against Ziggs. He can wave clear, no problem. CandyPanda alongside him on Tristana, explosive shot. That wave will not last.
Svenskeren with his Void Missile spikes, Void Missiles rather, got the Black Cleaver, got a Hex Drinker in there. I mean, he's also no slouch at clearing minion waves, and actually,
sneaky.
That's just going to sneak it. Millennium, I don't even know if they're aware that Dragon was up, because they made no move towards it, and they need to. They need to be making use of Baron. It's a deterrent for combat, and they haven't done that.
Well, every time they step forward, they get those Void Spikes in the side, slows them down, and they step away. This turret, simple outer turret, they can't get it down. Millennium trying anything, they're trying to learn the picks. You can see the Sonic Waves are away going in, the Dark Bindings are going in, the Light Bindings are going in. They want to manage to land something on Jesiz or CandyPanda, but they're playing clever, they're playing defensive.
So if Millennium keep it up, they do have minion waves in top and bottom pushing in their favor. But it feels like it's a little too late, if I can be that harsh, because those minion waves are going to take quite a while before they get to a tower. And the moment Millennium peel away from the mid lane, they've got to deal with a Mega Inferno Bomb for wave clear, so that instantly eliminates one threat. And they're not going to make it to the opposite side of the map, to the other minion wave. So it just feels a little half-hearted. Let's see what Jesiz does. There you go. So, top wave completely destroyed, but Millennium, they're going to tank this without minions.
Oh, nRated, the laser was finally used from Kerp. And look at it, it's such a short cooldown. Make more use of that spell. They are not throwing it out half as much as I'd like to see. Instead, it's another chunk of wave clear. Jesiz is back, and they can't push anything in. Freddy's happy to take the Dark Bindings. He can tank through that one. Every spell that gets used, he's going to regenerate a little bit more health.
And he's going to have the sustain from nRated to help back him up. Baron buff has worn off, and Millennium
didn't even make a dent in the tower.
Able to stall. To be fair, they did get a few auto attacks, but no, I mean, they spent 2.5, 3 minutes literally watching SK wave clear. That is exactly, and then when Jesiz disappeared, they're like, okay, we'll sneak a few hits. Jesiz will let us have these. And then they ran away. It is still a 11,000 gold lead. It is still a matter of Millennium having little tools to contain SK. And still, they made a lot of individual positioning mistakes, which is why Millennium's in this position. Kevin's gone the tanky route, so let's see if he can sustain or keep a team fight going long enough for Creaton's Cold War to be relevant.
I don't think he had time to get the static shiv, honestly. I don't think he was able to do any of that split pushing that maybe he wanted to do, maybe originally planned to do for Saw maybe, but SK Gaming pushing on through the mid lane. Now it's their turn. They have that gold lead, they're well aware of it. It worked well for them in the past. Now they're, I think, maybe going to flex some of that muscle and prove why they managed to just charge through that mid lane and expose that inhibitor, who is Hound, of course, now it has respawned. So Millennium are on defensive duties without a tower.
Yeah, the aggressive positioning from SK, knowing that Baron's down, is just such a confident tell that they're going to look to punish. And despite Freddy eating multiple Dark Bindings, no one else from SK has been caught. No one else has been punished. Let's see if CandyPanda going aggressive for the inhib can get him caught out, because it is something that does happen from time to time. And there's also the threat of a flash Soul Shackle engage. For Millennium, time is running out. They need to go in now if they want to try and make a fight happen.
Well, then inhibitor, I think they're accepting fate that will go down. KottenX was trying to make a play. It's Svenskeren, he's caught out with the Sonic Wave. I don't think he's going to follow that one. And Freddy runs defensive duties while the rest of his team rotates up, and that's going to be an inner turret because Millennium are too slow to react to this one. CandyPanda has a gigantic wave with him. And Millennium are, again, it's too late to this party.
Yeah, Millennium too scared to engage the inhibitor, so they don't defend that. Then they're too slow to respond to the top lane minion wave, and SK get uncontested objectives. And it's just very smart play. I mean, I think SK is very well deserving of all of the accolades that they have in this series. It was a slow start in game one, and I was nervous, I'm not gonna lie. I was worried about the level from both teams because Millennium was struggling and SK appeared to be struggling. But they've definitely shaken off the rust in games 2 and 3 and come out swinging.
Well, Baron now up. SK in position and waiting for someone from Millennium to take a peek. Instead, Jesiz is simply putting damage down from the side. Millennium looking to continue pushing. Are they going to go for the turret first? It's something they've been working for.
They can get surrounded. Tidal wave could cause trouble.
Freddy popped the ultimate. He wanted to go for that one, but it wasn't quite close enough. That twisted advance, of course, hasn't got the range he once had, which is why he wasn't able to get close. Had flash available if he really wanted to go for it. And this is exactly the same position we saw them in the last time. Millennium came out on top. Oh, Kerp caught out. But a quick heal comes on towards him. Kevin now in trouble. How can he tank through all of the damage at the moment? He's going to come around the side. Creaton off the side, untouched so far. Jesiz gets in. They're all close, lined up. The laser lands. CandyPanda has to rocket jump out of there. Kevin will finally go down, and nRated takes all the damage. It's a 1-for-1 trade so far. Both top laners picked off. Svenskeren looking to try and finish this one. CandyPanda flashes in for it. Gets one, gets two. Svenskeren gets the reset. CandyPanda straight in there. He will. Goes in towards KottenX. Gets on towards him. He will go for the reset. Is it going to be enough? He's just going to void spikes back up the moment. It will finish him off. No! Gets away, but the base is exposed and SK can push it.
There are super minions pushing up the middle lane. Jez is going to look to interrupt Kerp. If he can kill Kerp, that is their wave clear. Mega Inferno Bomb's not available.
Base.
Look at the base. As long as Jez keeps Kerp away, there's nothing to clear the minions away. SK have done it.
It's over. SK Gaming, they're going to take this one 3-0. There's nothing that Millennium can do, and it's a fantastic performance. SK will go through and face Alliance in the semi-finals of the European Regional Championships. Can they make it to World Championships? They are one step closer, and that is a beautiful sight. Fantastic 3-0 for SK. Dominant performance here in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, Freddy's going to be so happy with that performance. He's leafing here today with a massive smile on his face. and he's firmly rooted himself in the top, you know, a top team here in Europe. This is the second split in a row where the same 4 teams are in the top 4.
Yep. And, well, last time around, history proved the Rocket actually took down Alliance for that 3rd spot. Can SK and Fnatic make it to the finals, just like they did in the spring?
I don't know, because Game 1 is still, there's so many questions for me regarding SK in Game 1, and I think it was a safe play. I really think they were maybe anxious about the engage and they were worried about Ziggs. But if that is not the answer, it was very slow. And you contrast that to Game 2 and Game 3, so decisive, so coordinating. Would Alliance make the same positional errors to allow SK to build that lead up? And I don't think they would.
And we talked about it yesterday with the Challenger game, the Unicorns of Love versus Ninjas in Pajamas. You know, we said, is this simply UOL playing so well or NOP playing so bad? And you got to ask the same questions today. Have SK been that solid? It looked like they were, but Millennium, they really looked shaky.
They did. And I've got one more in me that I'm going to get out. I think Kevin's going to be in a very bad mood after that game. The Alistair didn't work out, and neither did his Aatrox. It's just a tough day at the office for Kevin and the rest of the team.
For everyone involved in Millennium, honestly. Kevin played outstanding, and maybe the pick strategy, did it work? You know, they let that first pick choice go through, and 3 out of 3 times, Freddy absolutely pulled out a beast. Maokai twice, and Nidalee in the top. First pick every time. Actually, Morgana was first pick last time in the second game too.
It was, and I also think if you step back and look at the 3 games, 2 of the games are not necessarily pick comps. Maybe, yes, you could argue Lux, Morgana, land bindings, you can pick them off. But it's not a Millennium-style pick comp. Millennium style's a lot more aggressive, in-your-face aggro. Braum, Fizz, you know, Twisted Fate if it was available. Those kinds of things to jump in. And Millennium may have been scrimming and practicing other compositions out of fear of being countered by their picks. But I think they may have thought about it, may have gone back to that Game 3. Instead of running Lux and Alistair and Morgana, maybe gone for Aatrox, maybe gone for Fizz, gone for Braum, and tried to do something that they won so many games within the regular summer split.
And on to SK Gaming, of course. They're going to be facing Alliance now. Lost to them 3-1 overall over the split. Can they turn it around? Can they manage to take down Alliance, who honestly have been a juggernaut this season?
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think I'm going to use an analogy that we said yesterday. SK have probably got a very similar skill ceiling to Alliance, but they have demonstrated that their skill floor is lower or less consistent. You know, Alliance have been at a much higher basic level. Even an Alliance average game has not been particularly worrying, whereas some of SK's games you've looked at and you've gone, ooh, I'm not really sure what they were thinking or what they were doing there. So if they can adjust and deliver at a higher level, we're going to have one hell of a series at Gamescom. Yeah,
it's going to be fantastic. Semi-finals, of course, that's coming up next Friday. For now, though, we're going to speak to the winners. Shox is standing by with 2 players.
Thank you very much, D-Man. I'm here with SK's bottom lane, CandyPanda and nRated. First off, congratulations, guys. A clean 3-0 sweep here. nRated, let me ask you to begin with, is this 3-0 sweep, is that a relief, or is that a confirmation of what you already knew, or is it a combination?
I think it's a combination. Every one of us feels relieved because there was so much pressure on our shoulders for the last weeks. We've constantly tried to improve and did everything we could towards that. We had a lot of training, a lot of preparation going into this match, and we had the right mindset, and we came in here to win. So a 3-0 wasn't unexpected, but we wouldn't say that it was easy to win those matches at all, because being on such a big stage, playing a best of 5 means everything is on the line, and we just made the better play, and that made us win in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. CandyPanda, talk me through maybe first the first 2 games where it seemed like you guys had the upper hand in picks and bans already, and your preparation was already showing off.
Yeah, so we focused a lot on comfort picks for us, and we knew that we would be blue side a lot, since we had the better seed. So we were 3 games blue side at least, and then they choose the blue side. So we knew we had to blind pick mid, and we prepared like some champions, which we can just blind pick. And I think also the bottom lane wasn't aware of that they can't really play Alistair against Morgana, because it really screwed them over. 2 games, they got just outpicked in the bottom lane, and yeah, they just picked a bit weaker champions than we did, I think.
Yeah, well, talk me then through the third game, because then finally they came out with the Kog'Maw-Morgana combo themselves, and you guys went then for Nami-Tristana. Then talk me through that. Was that an adjustment in mindset, or did you know, well, just give us any lane, we can probably do it?
No, we knew they would probably either ban Kog'Maw or Morgana, or even both, or they would second pick it right away. And I said like to nRated that we can just play Tristana and Nami, and it will be fine, and it was fine.
nRated, then talk me through the third game, because it was actually the only game maybe that you guys had some resistance from Millennium. Then they got the Baron and the Lux coming in there. What was the tricky thing about that game 3?
The matchup overall was really good for us on bot lane. Like Tristana Nami is supposed to beat Kog'Maw and Morgana. The problem was that they drew my flash early because of so much Lee presence. So the lane was kind of even though it should be in our favor. But we didn't get that much help. So in the end, we could get advantage all around the map just because of that. And that paid out for us.
Yeah, well, it paid off. 3-0, clean sweep. You're on to the semifinals. And you were mentioning actually beforehand to me as well, this is such a totally different feeling. Everything is on the line. You mentioned here again. Next week, you're in Gamescom in front of thousands of people. Talk me through how you will prepare for that and maybe keep the nerves in check.
We have practiced a lot for this week, like as much as we possibly could. So we will keep up the practice and specialize our preparation towards Alliance and give our best shot at going to Worlds.
Yeah, is there anything you guys want to say to the fans out there, maybe CandyPanda supporting you guys still?
Oh yeah, I would like to say thanks to the fans that like keep sticking us out, even though in like week 6 to 9 we went really bad because we didn't play. But like we knew we could come back, and I hope our fans knew it as well. So it's great if they still support us.
Well, you guys are back. You guys are absolutely on fire. Congratulations, and see you guys in the semifinal.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, now let's head back over to Demon and Quickshot once again for an update on the playoffs.
Thank you, Jacques. And after dropping that series today, Millennium will now face Super Hot Crew in the 5th place match. That will be happening next Thursday at Gamescom, of course, where the losing team will head to the Spring Promotion Tournament and face the Challenger squad of their choosing.
Yeah, of course, by winning the series, SK Gaming will take on Alliance in the semi-finals next Friday, right after Roccat goes up against Fnatic. And 3 of those 4 teams will be heading to the 2014 Worlds. We'll know who that is after that 3rd place match next Saturday, followed by the finals on Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely awesome there, ladies and gentlemen. Do not miss it. Of course, those matches are all happening at Gamescom next week. I don't know where my voice went there. Right after the International Wildcard Tournament. That's going to be beginning on Wednesday, August the 13th at 11 a.m. Central European Summertime. It's early. That's 2 a.m. Pacific. So good luck watching that if you're in America. And a round robin between Oceania's Legacy Esports, the Commonwealth Independent States Russian Force, and Turkey's Dark Passage. Hell of a lot of matches right there.
It will be. Hoping for tiebreakers, of course. The top 2 teams from that round robin will play in a best of 5 on Thursday, and the winning team will head to Worlds to represent their respective region.
Yeah, and of course, over in North America, they got the South American teams. It is going to be fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. That wraps up the quarterfinal series, but when we return in a moment, the European Challenger Summer Finals will be kicking off as H2 Gaming will take on SK Gaming Prime. We'll be back in just a moment. Freddy's going to catch on to his advance. He will go deep, but he can tank out all that damage. Look at that. CandyPanda explosive shot just blows him away. Gets on towards it, gets the double. Now SK close the net on towards him. Creaton poured out. He's going to go down. Jree, the next focus, he will go down. Kevin will finally go down, and nRated takes all the damage. It's a 1-for-1 trade so far. Both top laners picked off. So it's going looking to try and finish this one. CandyPanda flashes in for